Hello and welcome to the Council of Moms. I'm Lisa Valentine Clark, mother of 5. Only one lives at home. Most of them are baby adults, partially grown. I'm in the phase of parenting where I'm rethinking everything and have the power to do nothing. But I'm here, still trying, telling my kids I'm trying, crying in front of them, asking them to love me. I am so excited for today's Council of Moms. This is the place where we really come together and get things done, I feel. The Council of Moms, nature's original support group. Huh? Yeah, I like that one.
I like that.
I like that. How about this one? The Council of Moms, because we don't get to choose what becomes the one story they will retell at every public gathering.
Yes.
Yes.
Love it.
Amen to that.
How about the Council of Moms, where we learn to let go of every single expectation we've ever had?
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Yes.
Just let it go. And we're going to do it together. And then, of
Together.
course, the tried and true tagline, the Council of Moms made with real moms.
Yes, that's
We've
right.
got our 3 moms today. I will let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Ruth. I'm a mom of 4 from 12 to 6 years old. I'm a working mom and making imperfect mistakes along the way, but trying and loving as much as I
I
can.
love that. Absolutely.
I'm Lindsay Clark. I'm a mother of 7 children. I'm 44. My kids are 22 to 9, and I'm definitely in a new phase of parenting. Glad to be here today.
I'm Whitney. I am a mother of 3 boys. I am a working mom, like all moms. I just made it through a 3-day weekend, so
Wow.
I'm here. I'm real glad
Congratulations.
for the public school system.
Well, I love it. We're here together to support each other and to really talk about the things that moms need to talk about, and parents, really. So I'm going to get into it. Here is our question for today. Hey, moms. One of my kids in particular has some big struggles with keeping things clean. In general, our house is a little chaotic, and I would say that we're always in some stage of cleaning up. But this is different. No matter how recently we cleaned it together or how many closet organizers we pick out, this bedroom is turned into a hurricane of dirty laundry and stuff. They feel guilty about it. I feel guilty about it, like I missed the window to teach them to pick up after themselves. So, how do you teach cleanliness to kids? And is it too late if I didn't start when they were super young?
Oh my gosh. What a question.
Right? I know.
Oh, no answers for that. I gotta hear
Well,
from
on
you
to the
ladies.
Next.
It's a lot,
Yeah.
right? Well, yeah, there's nothing to be done.
That's it.
You know, I had my parents growing up were very, very clean. Like, we tell the joke, and by joke, I mean real family story of like one time I was studying in the front room and I had my textbook out and a notebook, you know, because this was before personal computers. That's how old I am. And I was studying, and then I went to the bathroom, and then I came out and it was cleaned up. But I was like, where's I was studying, like, do you know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was a lot. And,
Yep.
you know, and also, like, I feel like my mom did the majority of the cleaning.
Yes.
And I don't feel proud about that. I feel bad about that. But I think she was like, this is how I want to be, and this is how it is. Like, and my dad was kind of like that too. And so, but I'm not, I mean, I fight against stuff being more important than like just like enjoying the moment,
Sure.
right? And so even now that my kids are
Sure.
older, it's hard because, you know, we'll have dinner and everything will be messy and everything, but I want to sit and talk instead of be hurry up and clean. So I really struggle with
Right.
this question. I'm not super good with it.
Well, I think what you're nailing on the head is that it's different for everyone. I think everyone has their minimum standard of care. And so you have some families that you go into the house and there is stuff everywhere, but man, they're having a great time. And then you have some families you go in and it's very pristine and you can tell like they are working hard. And even within families, each person has a minimum standard of care. And so as a parent, I have to decide how low can I go? Like when it comes to
Right.
my kids who don't have the same standard as me, do I want to be the parent who's constantly picking things up? Because it's either that or a fight all the time, right? And I feel like I have to decide, okay, first of all, what am I willing to let go? What rooms am I willing to let go for how long and so on? And then also on the other side of that, I know that for one of my kids, the minimum standard of care is much lower because of his ADHD. And so when it comes to constantly being aware of picking things up, I have one kid who he will play a game with one of his brothers. And I just heard him yesterday. He was like, all right, should we clean up now? And he said it like he was excited. Like, should we do this? And I was like, that's my son.
Aw.
Like that's me. My son with ADHD, like putting a sock in the laundry is like, like just a torrential storm. And so for that specific kid, we've learned, just as you do with schoolwork, anything that's low dopamine activities, we have to chunk it. We have to say, okay, after school, we have this schedule and it's written out for him. And so he knows he can get a snack and then he needs to put away, the clothes in his laundry basket. And then he can go like watch a show and then he needs to do his homework. Like we're able to show him you only have to do it for this amount of time. And afterwards you get something high dopamine and then let's do something else. And then you get something else that's a reward. So it's different for every kid, but I know for someone in my family that really struggles with any sort of cleanliness, we have to make it quick. We have to make it manageable and he has to be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And then I just have to let go of the rest.
Yeah. I like
Yeah.
that that's doable and accounts for the differences in each one of your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I really like that, Whitney. One of the things I had to do with myself is figure out why cleanliness was such a high important thing. And not just for the obvious reasons, right? We want to have we want to see what we have. We want to, know where we're walking and whatnot. But just like, why do I want, and especially if I'm the kind of mom that's constantly picking up, or it has to look a certain way. Why? Right. And we come back to what I really like Lindsay saying, the expectations, right? What is the expectation that I have here that my house needs to look a certain way? And when we talk about this topic, there's just so many different definitions, even of what clean is, for different families and what unclean looks like.
Yeah.
There's different levels even. But one of the things I really had to sit with myself is, why do I feel like my house needs to look a certain way?
Yeah.
Right. And if my kids aren't going to do it, then why is this urge to then make it look, this way? And anyways, it was really interesting to kind of see how, well, if I do it myself, then I'm in control of how everything looks like, and am maybe making this look like, so that then people can see me as a person that is orderly, or a person, we're a family that has, everything together. We're good. We're okay. And some of that obviously society also plays a part in, but coming back to Whitney, I really like that, it comes back to, again, what is our priority? What do we value more?
Yeah.
And it could be, different for all of us. But I think at the heart of a healthy home is the opportunities to connect. And while I still believe, in my house, it's the same thing and we have the same struggles. And I do want to have some order in my home. It does create an opportunity to think better, that we're in a better mood, all of those things that I try to teach my kids.
You can find
why.
stuff. Yeah.
You can find
Nice.
stuff.
That's the
mental
biggest
clarity
Oh,
Yeah.
for
seriously.
myself, for others. So I try to teach those things. And also recognize that I need to be able to, again, come back to the theme song of letting go of some of those
Yeah.
expectations, and not let that
Yeah.
guide my reason why I'm spending so much energy and so much time to make my house look a certain
Yeah.
way.
Mhm.
And
That's a good point.
expectations about your kids too. I at least
Mhm.
Yeah.
like because I think I have some expectations of I want my house to look a certain way. I think I
Yeah.
also have expectations of if my kids aren't picking up, does that mean this and this about them? Are they going to grow up to become, incapable adults? I think I have those expectations too that run
For
away with me.
sure. For sure. And that's kind of what this question was asking, because this to me has so many layers. Like
Totally.
two things for sure. But I think for me, like what you were saying, I think realizing how low can you go has been huge for me, honestly, to be like, what is my standard of living and how can I push that? That's helped me to let go more and realize, like you were saying, Ruth, what is this really about? Is this, so I'm perceived in a certain way. So I've learned a lot, but I think when my kids were younger, because now they're older and it's a game changer because our house actually is as messy, if not messier. I don't know how, but
Oh no.
they're all old enough. I know. They're
I know.
capable
Sorry, Whitney.
where
Sorry.
Don't tell
It's
me
true.
that.
it's true. But now they're capable to, I can just say like on a Saturday, like there's this like piece in me where it's like, we can clean it up on Saturday or Thursday, we don't have much going on. I can just break the house up into sections. I have 6 kids still living at home. So we can get it done in an hour. Like legit, we can clean up. That brings so much peace. When they were young, it was like, there was no hope. There was no help.
Yeah.
I was alone in it. You would try and make job charts and teach them.
So many
and
systems.
so many systems. I mean, I still have duct tape up in my drawers. We have like these wine glasses in our cupboard that we use for Thanksgiving. And when there's no cups clean, they'll just start grabbing those. They're pouring lemonade in them. And so then we have these wine glasses all over the kitchen. And I'm like, so I have tape up. If you use one of these glasses, you do dishes for the week. And I've never followed through with that. And so they just use them all the time. Anyway, but when they're young, it's so hard. It was one of the hardest things for me of being a mom because I didn't know what to do. But this question, I felt like there's nothing worse than your kid just kind of like throwing wrappers on the ground and being lazy. And I would freak out. Like I'm not teaching them. They're going to be the worst spouse, the worst roommate. And I've learned to let go of that. I'm teaching them. And I've just learned like they all have different personalities. Like you were saying, Whitney, some kids like kind of figured out. And some of my kids have completely not figured it out and they're adults. Not at all.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
like,
I hate
whatever.
that that's true because I appreciate
Yeah.
that Lindsay's bringing up like what is in the question and there's this feeling of a moral failing, right? Because she and the question says, I feel guilty about it. Like, because they're feeling guilty. And then I'm like, did I miss the window to teach them? And I just think, no, I mean, all things being equal, they grew up, they're their own people and they value it at a different, and the fact of the matter is no matter what you may think or have been taught, like it's not a moral failing if you're naturally clean or messy, right? It there's a lot of different factors, right? And I believe in like, again, lowering those expectations and like fundamentally, what are we worried about? Are we worried about appearances? Like for me, probably because of mixture of genes and how I was raised, I can relax in a clean home. Like I like that feeling of like cleaning things. I work out things in my mind and cleaning to like de-stress. Actually, when I'm not doing very well mentally, my house has never been cleaner or more organized. So let that mean whatever it means, right? And I wanted to teach my kids because like cold and flu season, I'm thinking I want to make sure that, everything's been disinfected. I want to keep my kids healthy. But beyond that, there's a lot of different phases of like teaching your kids and talking from the other side of it. Like I have adult kids, right, who live on their own. 4 of my kids live on their own and not all of them. In fact, I don't think any of them are particularly clean. And I felt really bad because one of my kids, and I won't say who, I knew they did not want me to come over to their house because they know how I live and how they live is different. And they were like, we don't need tip. Oh, we'll come over to your house. We'll, and that made me feel really bad. And I felt really guilty because I finally said like, I really don't care. like, I'm really not going to judge you, but I know that they were trying to like protect me from that. And when I
Aw.
finally did go over to their house, it was spotless. And I could tell they had spent a lot of time doing that.
Oh.
And I felt bad about it. But I was like, so you can overcorrect on, I think, either way, just to be like, this is, not putting like such a moral imperative on it, but still teaching them principles of like, everyone should know how to clean a toilet. Everyone should know how to wash their clothes. Everyone should have, know how to do dishes and things like that. Those are just life skills, right?
Yeah.
But like, is it getting in the way of our relationship? Is it getting in the way of us talking and eating together? Or then I think that is time to reevaluate.
For sure.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I really love that. And I would even challenge the idea of lowering our expectation, because I think just even with that, phrase, we could think, oh man, again, the guilt, and I'm lowering my standard, and all those kinds of things. And I think we can just change it to just changing the expectation, not lowering. We're just changing that
Oh, that's a good
standard
I
idea.
like
care
that.
for our family. And that's how we roll.
Yeah.
And accepting it, right? That's the next.
Can you
that's
think of
the-
an example of something that, like, of how you've changed that focus? Because I think that it would be a very useful thing for me to learn.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, it comes back to, I think, comparing ourselves is really where we start to see, am I lowering it? Am I on par? Because what we're doing is we're comparing ourselves to others, right? And we have a lot of proximity with our neighbors, our community, our friends, and we go over to their houses and we see things. Now we're bombarded, just like our kids, with social media and, just what we're seeing on the screen. And so I think that's one of the areas we have to work on, is not comparing ourselves to other moms out there, to other families, to their standard of care of cleanliness. But really coming back to, okay, what for our family, what is important? What matters? And recognizing all those variables, Lisa, you really have to kind of sit and talk about and realize that, with our family, my schedule is hectic. My husband's schedule is hectic. My kids, I have younger kids. Now I'm realizing, Lindsay, as my 12-year-old is 13 and getting more and more involved with things, I'm getting more busy than I was when they were little. It's different busy, right? And so we have just all these things going on. What is important for me? With all the things, what's more important? And cleanliness is important for me.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Is it as or more important than my relationship, my opportunities to connect with them? So it's finding that balance, and we're just going to change it. For my house, there's some important spaces for me, and that is the living room and the kitchen. I live in those spaces. We all do. There are some, expectations I have of their room, but there are some things I've accepted that it's maybe not going to look the same way that I would like. In our house, in those spaces that we share, I have the expectation of we're going to work together, before we go to bed, and we're just going to pick up, at the end of the day, we're going to be okay. And we're just going to reset for a new day with something clean.
I think that's such an important key, to keep it simple, right? To keep it measurable. Because I'd be like, clean your room.
Right.
And little kids don't know what that means. So you have to say, like, I remember starting to say, like, nothing should be on the floor,
Yeah.
So like dirty clothes, clean clothes, towels, toys, whatever. Nothing should be on the floor. Everything has a place. And if it's just a clear, simple place, it was a lot easier for little kids to understand that.
Right.
Definitely.
I've actually had to, I have done so much work on this. I like I said, I think this has been my hardest part of raising kids. Isn't that so sad? But I grew up in a really, really clean house. So I had those expectations, and I love, I don't do good with surface cleaning. I want to organize the drawers. I love getting rid of stuff, keeping things simple. I love my closet. I want 5 sweaters and that's it. And so I love going through things, but I learned it overwhelms me like crazy because I have too many kids in this house. And also, so that side of my personality, also like looking at magazines when I was like first married, and now like Pinterest or Instagram. I love decorating, I love design, but I've had to stay away from it, which sounds funny, but I have to stay away from it because I get inspired and excited. And then I start thinking, ooh, I want to clean this out and I want to do this. And I get grumpy and I get overwhelmed. Like, it's really interesting, but I have to stay away from it. And then I realize like it's just us here hanging out at home. I don't need to make like this huge project and go crazy cleaning. And I've let go so much that it's kind of gone opposite. Like we're kind of just a mess all the time. And somehow it's a miracle, but it doesn't really bother me. And it took a lot of work though. But like my kitchen is a disaster right now, and it'll get cleaned up. Like in my mind, I just think it's not going to stay like this forever. But it's not going to get cleaned up until probably 10 p.m. tonight. That's fine.
That's so healthy, I think, too. It's so hard. I wonder if there's things that we can do for each other as moms to sort of, solidarity in teaching our kids and hoping for the best, but also living with the realistic reality.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do feel like when I see, because, when people say, oh, it's a mess in here, and it's not a mess in there.
Yeah.
It's like initially I'm like, okay, I don't want you coming to my house, sort of a feeling. But when I've seen, like, I had one friend who like was cleaning out her car and showed it on Instagram. And I was like, I'm like, what? How brave. What a brave thing she did. Because your car, oh my gosh, with young kids, cars are disgusting. And like, we don't clean our car all winter because it's just going to get dirty again with all the salt on the roads and the snow. And so it just, I don't know, seeing someone's actual life, I'm like, oh yeah, me too. And I think that's helpful in some ways of being like, you're not subpar for having like crap all over your floor in your car. It's you're normal. It's normal.
I want to be one of those older women that are like, say ominous things that like were said to me, like, I miss the handprints on the windows and the fishy cracker packages shoved in the couch cushions. Like one day those will all be gone. And I will say that like, I don't miss that.
Thank you.
I miss the toddlers. I miss the cute little chubby cheeks with peanut butter and jelly all over their faces trying to give you a hug. I miss that. But I don't miss like silly putty crammed in my, carpet, trying to get it out, going, who gave that to them? Oh, that was me. So,
Thank you, Lisa.
I feel like I have to miss everything.
I have that on loop because my kids, I mean, they're all still pretty young. Our oldest is 9. And so just the idea of like, oh, I'm going to miss these handprints on the wall that are always around this door. I'm going to miss like, where did this stain come from that no one told me about 2 weeks ago? And I'm like, I don't think I'm going to miss that. Like,
listen, you can miss the kid without missing all the mess. It's hard enough, like sending your kids off into the world. We might as well hold on to any consolation prize we have, right? No.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Appreciate it.
I would love to know your final thoughts for this question. How do you teach cleanliness? Is it too late if I didn't start when they were super young? Your final thoughts, I'd love to hear from each one of you.
Mom, you are not too late. And just be so gentle. Offer yourself grace that you're doing the best you can with the circumstances that you can, teaching all you can. I mean, if you're concerned, if you're voicing this concern, that already tells me that it is on your mind. You are trying, you are teaching, you are trying to help. And, I just hold on to the thought that, hopefully down the line, sometime, somewhere, my kid can look back and say, yeah, mom tried. Mom, led by example. And so just keep going.
Amen. I didn't know how to cook until, like late college in my master's, when I was like, oh, I think I should learn how to make more than Totino's pizza rolls, because that's really what I was raised on. My mom worked, and that, we didn't really have like real dinner for most of my childhood. And so I feel like similarly, like these skills, they come or they don't, and they figure out other coping mechanisms and how to get through their life. And so as long as the foundation is there where, your kids know that they're in a house where they're taken care of and loved, I feel like everything else, it's based on, how can you keep living through your life? And if you feel like you're living at a good rate and you're getting, that connection that you want with your kids, then like, man, just let it all fall by the wayside. It'll get done.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was just thinking of like the judgment of others. I did live with that for a long time. I mean, we lived in an 1,800 square foot home when I was pregnant with my seventh. And my sixth was living in the living room, just in a porta crib. Like, we were so crammed. We had no room for anything. Everything was a mess. And it like weighed on me because I felt like I was a failure because I was such a mess all the time. People would come over and I just always had an excuse like, oh, I'm sorry about the mess. I'm sorry about the mess. And it was embarrassing to me because I knew better. Like, I know how to clean, I know how to organize, but it didn't show it. On the front porch, there'd be a dirty diaper that someone had left out. I mean, it was just embarrassing to me. And I'm really proud of myself and the work I've put in to letting go of those judgments and actually pushing myself to live in a mess, even though I function better when things are clean, believe me. But I've had to learn. I've been forced to learn because, well, I wasn't forced to. I could keep cleaning, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be that mom, and it made me grumpy. So I'm proud of myself. I let go of it, and I can sit in that uncomfortable space of actually learning how to meditate and read a book to my kids and do what needs to be done in a mess. And I'm really proud of that. And I've let go of judgments. When people come over, I just know to myself, I really am a clean person. It doesn't show, but in my mind, I know I am. And I've learned how to let go of that, and it feels really good. And teaching my kids, I kind of give up, but I still do it every day. But the fact that they're going to be messy is their deal, not mine. So I've let go of that too.
I love it. Thank you for sharing your hard-earned wisdom with us, Council of Moms. This has been really, really great. I appreciate your time, Lindsay, Whitney, and Ruth. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for listening to the Council of Moms on BYU Radio. I would challenge everyone here to subscribe to the Council of Moms, be a part of our council. Send this council off to a mom that you care about or a dad. And leave a comment for us on YouTube. We'd love to continue this conversation and all of our conversations that we have on the Council of Moms. Thanks so much.